The channels employed by Ford to obtain their marketing objectives were well chosen. Their TV and print ads were effective and persuasive because they highlighted F-150's selling points, such as class-leading power, better than competitors, and the truck of the future. The ads have unique visuals to appeal to consumers and attract their attention. The message is humorous and clear, with each commercial indicating exactly why consumers should purchase a Ford truck over the competitors. I believe the most important selling point being advertised is the new EcoBoost engine. Ford heavily advertising this option is a great tactic because no other competitor offers this engine, and fuel economy is one of the biggest unmet needs in trucks. It is also one of the important qualities consumers look for when purchasing a new truck, especially since gas prices hiked up in 2008. Research shows that consumers will consider switching brands if an automaker is able to deliver significant improvements to fuel economy. Ford focusing advertising on the EcoBoost engine is extremely smart to increase purchase intent and consumer interest, especially since this is what they're looking for. Using internet communication channels such as online videos, Facebook, Twitter, and forums, Ford is able to reach a wider audience without being intrusive. Consumers are able to search for the information they need in order to make the high-involvement purchase decision, or they can have their friends recommend through word of mouth which videos to watch or promotions to take advantage of. I believe the torture test campaign is a great tactic and is effective, believable, and persuasive. Consumers are skeptical of advertisement claims and demand authenticity. The torture test episodes give consumers the proof they need in order to believe the claims being made by Ford, and also that the new EcoBoost engine is extremely durable and able to perform just as well as the V8 engines. The EcoBoost truck tour is also a great tactic to provide the customers proof that the engine is powerful and capable like the traditional V8, especially since consumers get to experience it firsthand. Ford using social networking websites and having a buzz link on their website is a great tactic to provide technical information to consumers and to promote the new F-150. However, Ford should ensure the messages being sent across the social mediums is consistent with the message being sent through their TV and print ads. When visiting Ford's Facebook page, I found it provided mainly information on the current promotions and contests. So as a suggestion, Ford should be sure to add photos of the print ads and videos of the TV ads in order to ensure the message being sent is consistent and thoroughly communicated.
Ford should broaden its target audience scope to reach a wider audience. Currently, their campaign has a narrow focus on the stereotypical masculine-type construction worker who needs a heavy-duty pickup truck for work. However, the use of pickups have changed, and now they can be used by families during outings, to move furniture, or for vacation and trips. Ford should consider creating campaigns which approach different types of customers, instead of physical build and engineering versus performance highlights. This will allow them to get out of competing on scope and compete on a slightly broader scale. On this print advertisement Ford uses, the imagery doesn't do a good job at illustrating its fuel economy, but rather it implies that the truck is heavy-duty and meant for various weather and road conditions. Ford could have highlighted almost any one of their features with this ad and achieved the same ununified message between text and image. Also, Ford should take the opportunity to better highlight other features and characteristics instead of hiding it in a small corner in the corner of the ad, which goes by barely noticed. The campaign takes a good approach in terms of how it appeals and competes with its competitors in its ads. Unlike other competitors like Chevy, which mocks Ford and other competitors in their ads by bashing individual attributes of their truck, Ford focuses on highlighting its unique selling features and what sets them apart from the others. This approach does well as it exemplifies that Ford is a leader in the industry and that it does not stoop down to bashing and mocking tactics. In addition, Ford strategically uses the voice-over of a known comedian, Dennis Leary, which has been well researched to interest the target audience and effectively convey their message.
Ford does a good job of maintaining the same tone across different advertising channels. They're definitely number one in the light pickup truck industry, and they want all their customers to know about it. And again, they do a very good job of making sure that all of their touch points communicate that. The manner in which Ford communicates across different channels is also done very well. What they do on TV is different from what they do online. So on TV, they focus on generating interest and awareness in their product, so they don't talk too much about the details of the truck. whereas online they focus on a lot of the detail and they're focusing on the consideration and the buying part of the purchase stage. And while their website does a good job of targeting audiences in the consideration and purchase stages, they need to increase that to other advertising channels. Overall, though, Ford's done a really good job of maintaining a consistent tone and manner and the right tone and manner for each advertising channel. They basically just need to keep doing the same thing. The only recommendation I would really have for Ford is to focus on their audience members who are in the final stages of the purchase process. In the end, advertising has to drive sales, so you want to make sure you're pushing the people that are already interested and aware of your product to actually buy it.
First off, I found the campaign extremely successful and can easily generate a great deal of awareness. However, there are a few minor modifications that I believe could make the campaign focus on their primary target market more effectively. As previously spoken, the major involvement the Ford F-150 has is towards the TV advertisements and its website add-ons. And as much as the Ford marketing team sometimes denies the fact that a large number of people, especially in Canada, purchase trucks for heavy maneuvers, their focus is instead on highly adapted towards commercialization and mainstream websites. Statistics show, however, that Canadians living in rural areas are generally less likely to use the internet than their urban counterparts. In a nutshell, this means that they won't have access to the internet in order to view the commercials and or websites for more information. Now, as mentioned earlier, the commercials don't specify the pricing strategies, and instead require the viewer to log on to the website to view the figures. But how will they capture the rural segments if they lack the availability of the internet and simply just don't use it? In 2009, 76% of urban Canadians used the internet for personal reasons, while only 65% of rural Canadians did so. Canadians living in urban areas also participate in a greater variety of online activities than do those living in rural areas. This is partially due to the lack of high-speed internet in many rural areas. Simply using a method because it's available does not make it an effective tool because it does not tie with the primary objective. Keep in mind that I am not saying that all the people who purchase the Ford F-150 live in rural areas, but a number of them do, and so that shouldn't be excluded. In fact, they should be targeted in a more meaningful and personal level. In rural areas, it is found that a large number of people are emotionally connected to the radio and are generalized as frequent users. They should not abandon this communication tool just because a new one is introduced. Having difficult forms of advertising can capture both ends of the market. There have been multiple studies done that associate labor workers with the use of radio and saw a positive correlation among the two variables. So the question still stands. Is Facebook and Twitter an effective marketing tool, or does it only create minimum effect?